All right, everyone, for digital art level 5, you're going to find in Google Classroom that you have two little sample shapes that you can use, or if you don't want to do one of these simple, easy ones, you can think of your own object. So I'm going to choose the heart here. So if you choose to create a heart word art, you're going to then go File, Make a Copy, and you're going to click OK. Now, this new copy will be your copy that you can edit, and it will save to your Google Drive. So you have a copy of your literal text, and our goal here is to make a heart out of the letters that spell heart, H-E-A-R-T. So you can see here I started the first letter for you. I've made a letter H that fits within this heart. It's touching the edges and it's filling part of the shape. So we're going to go then next to our next letter, which is E. So the tool that you're going to use is either Polyline or Curveline. Curveline will make more curvy shapes for you, and Polyline will make more boxy shapes for you. So if you go to the line tool here again, just click the drop down arrow and select either curved or polyline. If you're making the heart, probably want to use curve. If you're making the star, you probably want to use polyline to make more boxy letters because the star is kind of more boxy and angular. All right, so I'm going to make an E with curve line. Now, you have to make a shape letter E. You cannot just make an E out of lines like this. So that's not going to work. What you really have to do is make sure you're making a shape letter E, a boxy or bubble letter E. So I'm going to click start my E, and then when I want to change directions, I have to click again and drag my mouse. And then when I want to change directions, click again and drag my mouse. So I'm starting to make this bubble letter E that's going to kind of fit inside of the heart. And notice how I'm putting it on the outside of my heart here. I'm not going to put it inside of the heart yet. I'm going to make sure I've got the shape of the E right. And then I'm almost back to the beginning. And what I need to do when I get back to the beginning is see how when I go back to the first point, it'll kind of snap together. I'm going to click, and then it's going to turn light blue. If it does not turn light blue, that means you need to try this again by clicking backspace or delete on your keyboard and trying the shape again. Because it means that you maybe accidentally along the way double clicked your mouse and made a line instead of a closed shape. So this is a closed shape. I can move it around. If I click on it, I can edit it by stretching it, squishing it. And then I'm going to move it into the heart, and I'm going to get it the size that I want it to be. So I want it to kind of fit right here. But I think it's a little bit big. So what I'm going to do then is kind of keep stretching it a little bit skinnier. And it still looks like an E, but it's just a little skinnier. Now, if I double click on it, it's going to show me these little purple points. These purple points are super important because these purple points are going to help me edit the letter so it really fits within my shape. So I'm going to kind of stretch the purple points here until I've got the edges of the E touching the curves of the heart. That's super important because if I just had an E floating in the middle of the heart, it would not make the shape of a heart. Actually, I think I'm going to take my H and I'm going to stretch it a little bit more to fit the E. So when I'm selecting these letters, I'm on this tool here, the select tool. That will help me select my letters and edit them and move them around a bit so they fit within my shape. All right, so I'm going to move that E up a bit so it fits more with the heart shape. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, next I'm going to do the A. Now, I was just making my E kind of freehand because I'm pretty good at making bubble letters. But if you're not quite getting the hang of making a shape or a bubble letter, here's a tip. Go to Insert Word Art and then type the letter that you want to create. Now here's like a tracer that you can trace. I'm going to put it over on the side here, and I'm not going to use it in my heart. I'm going to trace it. So I'm going to go back to a curve line, and I'm going to click and drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click. Only clicking once, click, drag, click, and all the way back to the beginning, click. And that's a good way to trace my letter. And I'm going to go back to this and delete that. Okay, I've got an A. It's a little bit too small. It's kind of floating in the middle. I'm going to stretch it a bit. And I'm going to make it a little bit skinnier. And then at this point, I'm going to double click and I'm going to get these little purple points so I can really make this fit within my heart. All right, now the A is kind of an interesting shape because it has a middle part. So I'm actually going to make two parts of the A. I'm going to make another shape in here for the middle of the A, and I'll have two shapes. All right, I have two more letters to do. Now, when I finish the R and the T, and they've all kind of fit within the heart, here's the last couple steps I'm going to do. I'm going to take my original heart, and I'm going to delete it. So backspace on my keyboard. If these letters make a shape of a heart without the heart in the background, that means I did it right. I'm on the right track. If they're not quite making a heart, backspace, or I'm sorry, undo, get your heart back, and you want to keep double clicking on your letters to get them fitting more within your heart. All right, so let's pretend I did the R and the T. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to go ahead and click on my letters and go to Paint Bucket. I'm going to change them to be whatever color I want them to be. And I would do the R and the T next. And then I'm just going to make a little background for myself. I'm going to go to Shapes and get a square. Oops, square. And then I'm going to put that square all the way around here. And then it's covering my letters. I don't want that. I'm going to go Arrange, Order, Send this square to the back. And I can change the color of the square. And for that A, I'm also going to change that inside part to be the background color, so it looks like it's see-through. Okay, so this is kind of what it's going to look like when you're done. You can also put some details on top, like you could put other shapes layering on top if you wanted to make this kind of fancier, like you could do polka dots or whatever you want to do. All right, so go see Mrs. Buettner when you're done. We're going to print these together by going File, Print, so you can put this picture in your sketchbook. Again, if you're working on the star, same thing, except you probably want to use Polyline instead. So this is going to make shapes for you that are a little bit more, instead of curvy, more boxy. And if you don't want to do the star or the heart, you could always go Insert, Image, Search the Web, and you can search for whatever object you want to put in there. Like maybe you want to do something different, like a shoe or something. So you can click on a different picture and then delete the picture that you have in here. All right, friends, happy creating.